Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 4 of the TCUK Championship here at Virtual Motorsport Online. For round 4, we're at the beautiful, challenging Oulton Park Island Circuit, a venue carved through the Cheshire countryside, famous for its sweeping bends, blind crests, and old-school character. First opened in 1953, Oulton Park has been a favourite for touring car racing since their first visits in the 1960s. And on a scorching hot day like today, its undulating layout becomes an even more demanding challenge for our drivers, their cars, their tyres, and their brakes. With 3 15-lap races to go this evening, we'll have to see who can bring home a good result. My name is Matthew Churgwin, and joining me in the commentary booth is Mr. Philip Morby. Say hello, sir.
Hello, sir. We're back after a slightly extended break, thanks to the England football team. We're back live for another, hopefully, fun 3 races. And we'll see how it plays out and call it as it is.
We shall, and we've got a treat of a circuit to return to following our impromptu summer break. Oulton Park, a challenging layout, perhaps a little tricky to overtake on a warm day, and we've got a full field of drivers with tyre strategy, boost. It's going to be a real mix-up tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Herlock's kind of, only a few thousandths kind of here and there, even with minimal amount of boost. So leading the championship, and we'll see what he can do. But don't count out some of these Hondas and other BMWs.
Absolutely, and with a real mix of straights, slow speed, high speed corners, it should be quite a balanced affair, I think, for our front and wheel drive drivers. We have plenty to update you on as we've had our summer break, but let's look forward, actually, now that we've had our summer break, to the races ahead. Just in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks' time, we'll be going to Thruxton, not today, unfortunately, but in a few weeks we'll be going to Hampshire, and the fastest circuit that we visit on the calendar. That will be followed up by our visit north of the border to Knockhill, and its completely different challenge that it will offer our drivers. We then close out our championship returning to Donington Park and its Grand Prix layout at the start of September, Croft following 2 weeks after that, and we round out with our usual visits to Silverstone in the national layout at the end of September, with our finale in October. So plenty of excellent circuits still to come, but Oulton Park is the challenge tonight. Phil, talk through for our lovely viewers what that challenge awaits.
It's kind of keeping it on the ragged edge through that fast turn 1 to give you a good exit down turns 2 and down the Cascades. Again, another one really. It's all about those old Hall Corner turn 1 and Cascades. It's all about getting a really good exit, give yourself a nice run on those straights. Island Bend, obviously, well-known overtaking zone that, if you lock up, you go straight on. Before you know it, you've gone from the island circuit to the international circuit. Done that before. And another one that you need, good exit, Hilltop. The chicane of Hislops can kind of cause a bit of an upset if you're kind of brave on the brakes. And then it's Clay Hill, chuck it into Druids, and Lodge, another famous overtaking spot. I still remember watching Matt Neal and Flash go side by side into that last corner, let's say, and into the gravel.
Yes, plenty of challenge. Some call this the Nürburgring of the North, or of the United Kingdom. You can certainly see it in some places. It's narrow, it's fast, it's green. But you touched on it, Phil. There's some key corners. Momentum is everything, and it's about, I say, the fundamentals. If you get your entry wrong, you don't carry the speed, you are punished on some of these long straights that follow.
So long, which also brings us nicely to the boost system. Obviously, higher you are in the championship, the less boost you have for qualifying and for race 1. We saw that with Dan Herlock, actually. I think he's starting about 3rd in the mix with a little bit of boost. So may struggle in this first race, whereas all the other drivers are going to be able to use their boost, start it earlier, lose it longer, and use it for more laps. So it really throws a spanner in the works if you it's a good problem to have, being so high in the championship, you don't get as much boost, but you're going to struggle in race 1.
Yes, and we'll introduce it, of course, as the evening goes on, but there'll be different tyres in play across the 3 races, as always. Different drivers with different levels of boost, as Phil was just alluding to, all to keep an eye out for and manage over the next 3 races. So we've got our runners and riders here. Phil, will you be able to do some parish notices for us?
Yep, I know that we've got Phil Garside is dropping in for one of the Calamity Motorsports today. And then we've also, I think, got Cameron Brewster replacing one of the Drags. I don't particularly know. Anthony Walker, thank you, Mr. Cameraman Extraordinaire, my ear. Apart from that, it's kind of the run of the riders we're used to. A few people have unable to make it this evening. Obviously, we are effectively in the summer break, and as a dad myself, it's just when the holidays happen. But we've still got 21 runners and riders tonight. Hopefully, put on a good show.
Yes, we all have to hope so. Certainly no risk of rain today, but heat is going to be, I think, in one of those kind of interesting twists of fate. Normally you're managing the tyre temperatures and that kind of thing. I think our drivers will have to be managing their own body temperatures this evening. Just sat here commentating with my setup. I'm already starting to sweat a little, so I'm glad I'm not behind the wheel today.
Yeah, it's 31 degrees, so we both live in the south of England. It's hit 31 today. Oulton Park wasn't as warm, actually, being further up north in, I think it's Cheshire. Hit highs of 24, 25 today and cloudy. So it's showing 22 degrees weather on the server at the moment. So just for those that are new, we use daytime temperatures. So we take the temperature at 12 o'clock and apply it to the server, but it's real-time weather, which obviously today is not going to make much of a difference because, yeah, I'm expecting absolutely no rain whatsoever.
So perhaps no weather watching or rain dancing to do tonight, but with real world temperatures certainly getting up there, we're blessed that we don't necessarily have mechanical vehicle issues all the time. But yes, I think heat issues, those who've perhaps cleaned their computers and given themselves adequate airflow, that might be a weird advantage that some drivers may be able to optimize and use tonight.
Yeah, that's it's going to be a fun one to kind of follow as it chops and changes. We should probably do some parish notices on the current standings and on penalties from last round.
Yes, good idea, Phil. Do you have that in front of you?
I do have that. I do have that in front of me. The only penalty to be applied in this race is Alan Smith has got a 5-place grid drop for an incident. Again, at this VMO, penalties are usually position-based penalties. So if you have an incident that causes the car to lose 2 places, and effectively, like in real-world British Touring Car Championship, they can swap the places back. They apply position penalties post-race. Sometimes that's not possible, or it's bad enough. They will apply a grid drop for the next race. So just Alan Smith for that. In regards to the standings, it is, as we keep saying, it's Dan Herlock leading with 141 points. Tom Stevens for Kings 131, and his Kings teammate Scott for 126. It's worth pointing out there is no Tom Stevens tonight, so it's Scott Mitchell-Marm headlining the Kings Racing drivers push. In the teams, they're doing fine. They're 91 points ahead of RSR with 273 plays 162. Could point out it's 20 points for a win, and it staggers down to 1 point for 15th place, plus a point for the fastest lap and a point for leading.
So plenty of points and prizes still up for grabs. Of course, VMO and the TCUK Championship. We have a Drivers' Championship, of course, a Teams Championship, but we have a couple of others just to talk through as well. So we have our Independence Championship, so drivers not affiliated with a team. We've currently got Callum Wilson leading that with 88 points. His closest rival is Emil Salberg in his Krieg Racing Honda, with Ben Willis in third for Drake. And then, which is a nice twist, the Challenger Cup. All of our drivers who have entered and have not yet won a race are entered into the Challenger Cup. Our current leader there is Cedo Wire, who of course won at Brands Hatch Indy in the first race. So he won't be eligible next year, but he's got a nice, comfortable lead in the Challenger Cup as it stands. Yeah,
it's not a bad way to lead the Challengers Cup as a winner, is it? It's not a bad way to go. So yeah, hopefully, obviously, keep out that challenge tonight. I do believe he's in the server, but Thomas is also still there, so you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. So as we've been talking and just introducing the action tonight, our drivers have been completing their warm-up for the first race of the evening. That is just drawing to a close. So we'll be going into our first race of the evening. Phil, any runners and riders you'd suggest folks keep an eye out for as we wait for that grid to form?
Well, it's worth pointing out that a couple of people, Dave Brewster and Luke Mitchell of Kings Racing, have been put to the back of the grid for using the incorrect tyres in quali. So that explains why Luke was fastest by about 0.003 of a second in quali. I'm guessing the setup was... I've done it before. You make the setup race 1 soft, so you put softs on, but for this you must qualify on mediums. So that's 2 drivers at the back of the grid.
So I believe we've got the qualifying grid ready to go, so let's just introduce you to our runners and riders. So, pole position for the first race this evening would have been Luke Mitchell, but of course he's starting at the back of the grid. Callum Wilson should be on the front row. Daniel Hurlock for RSR will follow, followed by Ryan Elliott for Kart Marketplace. Emil Sarberg for Creek Racing will be in 5th, followed by Scott Mitchell-Marm. Thomas Vac for Kart Marketplace will be in 7th, with Cedo Wire in 8th. Harley London will be starting in 9th place, followed by Jordan Hyde. Louis Neal and Martha Allington round out the top 12.
I'll then do the next kind of the back half of the grid. We have Matt Richards of Airstream Motorsport, 13th, obviously now 12th. Ben Willis, Control Esports by Drag Racing, is just behind. Alan Smith, 15th, but with that 5-place grid drop, and I think that was Cameron Brewster there. We then have Matthew Williams, Craven Racing, starting 16th. Zachary Evans, PMR powered by Richardson Co-Racing, 18th. Carl Benton, 19th. And that was, I think, Dave Brewster and Phil Garside.
So we'll obviously wait for our drivers to start gridding up and starting their formation laps. Just while we do that, I've mentioned tyres a few times. We've had a few drivers caught out in the qualifying with the wrong tyres, but across the course of the championship, our drivers elect to use either a prime or option tyre. Option tyre normally perhaps the softer compound, as it is this evening. And just looking at the tyre selections document that we've been given, I think we've got about 7 or 8 or so drivers on that soft tyre looking to make a good impression in that first race of the evening.
Yep, I'll just quickly run through the names. It's Harley London. She also with Matthew Williams, Emil Salberg, Jordan Hyde, Callum Wilson, who will be starting on pole now with those soft tyres, Luke Mitchell. So they were the guys starting on the softs. So obviously, if you're new, it's going to be going to have better grip at the start, but they wear off quicker.
Yes, so that is the dynamic. Perhaps a bit of early hay in the sunshine at the start of the race, but challenge to manage that grip as the race rolls on. Of course, sometimes the option tyre is the faster, the more advantageous tyre. Sometimes it's not. We'll have to see how it pans out for this evening. But with this stop-start nature, Phil, do you think boost is going to be a big factor, particularly for our championship protagonists, the like of Dan Hurlock, who will have a really limited amount to work with?
Yeah, there's so many straights here to make use of. It's going to be really difficult to kind of defend and attack. We probably should mention the timing tower is having a few little meltdowns of itself this evening. So Matthew Allington isn't 12th, 13th. Martha Allison, sorry, is it 12th, 13th, and every other position. Yeah, apologies for that. We'll try and call it as we can. Obviously, the top 12 at the moment are correct, so we'll kind of play it by ear. I'm actually sat on the rFactor 2 server, so I should be able to call it out as it goes along. Yes. I've also believe I've got the wrong Kings Racing. So it is Luke Mitchell on pole. So all those positions we were calling one out, we actually were out ourselves. The grid is correct.
Say the technology is having a problem, so are the humans. So life carries on. So there we go. Luke will be on pole himself and Callum. Front row with soft tyres. We'll have to see how those two manage that. But as our drivers make their way around this circuit, brilliant to drive, a real driver's circuit. You can perhaps get a sense of just how narrow it is in places. And the curbs, quite tall in places. You hit them wrong, you're in real trouble.
Yeah, I've done that before many a times. I have to talk about my snow attempts and Project Cars actually during the race 1-2 gap. Yeah, there's just no runoff there. Just look how narrow those barriers are. You're not going to get any kind of luck with kind of missing them if you go off.
Yeah, just as we're on board with Hurlock here, just final bits of preparation as they come up to the grid positions. Another challenge. Look at this undulation, even on the grid. Plenty to deal with for our drivers to get away from the line cleanly, and it gets harder the further back you are in the grid as well. Much more of an extreme angle. Anyway, drivers slowly pulling into their pit boxes now, just waiting for the last few cars to get into position, and we are finally ready for round 10, our first race this evening. So as everyone now takes their positions, we wait for the engines to notes to rise and the lights to come on. Lights out and away we go, and what a good start from the rear wheel drive cars, immediately swamping the King's Honda Civic there. We've got side by side Herlock and Wilson through Old Hall Corner for the first time, and Herlock takes the lead. Looks like everyone just about through the tricky turn 1 as they go down the avenue, down into the Cascades bend for the first time.
Yeah, it looks like they're going 2 by 2, everything behind, as the Kings are trying not to trip over each other. And yeah, those BMWs made a great start. I would say, however, that Luke Mitchell had a bogged down, and that's why he just didn't get away, as Herlock locks into the chicane.
Yeah, big lockup, not ideal. That will certainly take a little bit of tyre life away from his front right there, as they now leave the hairpin up the Britain's Hill, over Hilltop. So critical, as Phil said, to get a good exit there, because you are punished if you do not, with that incline that you then have to drag yourself up. But everyone making their way through now the Hislops and Knickerbrook section here, one at a time, one by one, in those tyre bales. They do not move. They are solid concrete walls, so have to see if folks pay them the respect they are due.
Hopefully do. Probably worth pointing out that also the boost system is not available on lap 1, which is why I was seeing quite close battles. I think that was a little accident at the back there. Nope, I think everyone's still through okay. I think everyone is actually still going, which is good to see. All 21 runners and riders so far, so good.
Harley London putting lots of pressure here on Ben Willis down into the Lodge corner for the first time of asking. Round the outside is going to be a bold move. Harley not quite able to pull that one off. Ben defending nicely in the middle of the road, and look at this, they're almost bump drafting over the start finish line into turn 1.
Yep, so Harley's going to have the outside line. Ben's having to defend on the inside. So going to see if Harley gets the undercut. They all run wide. We're using the RF2 track cut system, so they'll have to keep an eye on the number of track cuts they're allowed or drive through. It looks like Harley there holding 11th place.
Yeah, just keeping it on the island, literally, and being able to carry the speed, camera, and the momentum. Willis backwards one, but still a long way to go. Little pack here. We've got Cameron Brewster under attack. Looks like he's trying to make his way forward, but also having to defend against one of the Hyundais there, going all the way around the outside of the island hairpin. It's Matthew Williams trying to cause problems for the Drake driver. Drake driver should have the inside for the next chicane. But it's always one of those cheeky moves, throw it around the outside and really give your opponent something to think about as you then make the next corner. But they've sorted themselves out. Brewster holds on to 15th.
Yep, the last of the points paying positions, so a really important one. On board here with Callum Wilson, just kind of holding back at the moment, half a second behind Dan Herlock. We know, like I said, Dan is going to struggle for boost. Wilson obviously also on the soft tyres. Whether that's going to make a difference in their thinking as to when they make a move for it. So Wilson, yeah, 6 laps of boost available. Herlock only 1. And Salberg behind is a second behind now, but has an extra 4 laps of boost, so could easily make that gap up if needs be.
Absolutely. So it's going to be, I think, a slow burn on this one. Everyone figuring their way through. Everyone, of course, will have done their practice, know their cars, know what their pace is like. Because my goodness, it's a good thing R Factor 2 doesn't do lawn cutting. I think some of these cars would be very full of grasses. Oh no! Off onto the grass. That's not the fastest way through the corner. That's the Brabham Honda Civic Cedo Wire. Thankfully, just hanging on there for dear life, going through Cascades. You don't normally survive that moment.
No, that's very, very lucky. As it's Ben Willis also now fighting with them, and yeah, very lucky to survive that. And you know, if that was lap 1, you would have been taking someone out. So happy to report, all good.
Absolutely, no dramas this time round, but hard, fast and frantic racing here in our first race of the evening. Just following along here with Jordan Hyde, currently holding on to 8th place, but he's got, I believe that's Louis Neal for close company. So all sorts of action in the early going.
So there's a look here. Yeah, there's a little tap between the two. Looks like, whoa, that's a nice view of Louis Neal. Gets a face full of Honda, but manages to go around it as Callum Wilson now on the back of Herlock. Was that boost or was that a mistake? No, there you go. That's difference in boost. So I expect Wilson here to just drive past him. But no, Herlock's putting up a good fight and saying, you don't want to make it easy for you. Is Wilson going to try and tuck underneath? Nope, not going to happen. So still running first and second. But Salberg's now catching.
Salberg absolutely with these two now. Herlock just covering the inside, just going, no, I'm not going to let you through. This is my race to manage. Thank you very much to Wilson. But Wilson definitely with some pace on the boost, trying around the outside now into the island bend, pulls alongside on the brakes, but it's hard work to go all the way around there. Can he get the undercut? Not quite, as these two BMWs duke it out up the hill. Salberg, I think, just watching, waiting for the moment, but Herlock again covering the inside, but my word, Wilson late on the brakes, perhaps a bit of boost. He's got round the outside, but overcooked it through the Hislop chicane. Can he gather it up? Yes, he can, but here comes Salberg. He smells blood in the water. Herlock now going from attack to defence.
Yep, Wilson now using that boost to pull away up the hill. Just a little bit of boost, giving the power, and Salberg now thinking, well, I'd like a little piece of this. So a little bit trickier through here, just kind of stick on the backside. Like I said, Salberg's got a few extra laps of boost. I think from the next lap onwards, Salberg can use it every lap. So Salberg's probably just like, well, you know what, I'll wait it out this lap, and then I'll use it all next, the rest of the race, which is probably the way of going. Look at how Herlock drives this car. It's just obscene amounts of angle through the corners.
So he managed it in the front wheel drives last year. Now in the rear wheel drives, he has car control and then some, and he's making his BMW the widest BMW possible. Wilson not quite running away with this one yet, though, so we still have a good strong fight for the podium positions. Looking a bit further back, though, a real scrap starting now to develop over the P9, 10 and 11 position. Harley London now asking a lot of questions of Louis Neal, who had that little moment and brief escape from Cedo Wire, and it looks like Cedo is now recovering. So Harley up to ninth now. A little mistake there from Louis on this time of asking, as they go hard on the brakes through the island bend. Little dip there as they transition from track surface onto that hairpin. All nicely managed, and up the hill they go. So little conga line here of cars, and I think we've got P9 all the way through to about P14 or so, all in one line here. So one mistake and it could be very costly.
Yeah, in the background they've also got a three-driver battle for 15th, 16th and 17th between Martha Allington, Matthew Williams and Cameron Brewster. They are going at it as well in the background there. But yeah, Harley's got a little train, but all under control, and we'll see how that goes.
We will. Matt Richards here, of course, VMO TCUK champion in prior years. He's in this battle and is in his Infinity here. He's having a look on the back of Cedo. Is he able to do something? Oh, he's late on the brakes. He's asking the question. He's controlled. He's alongside. A little wiggle from his Infinity on the exit. And blimey, look how low that car's running. A little scrape on the ground. But looks like with a bit of boost, that position secure. +1 for Matt Richards.
Yeah, it's a nice move there. A few more points in the bag, finishing 11th. So so far so good for them, and they've not used. They've also got boost to the end. So a few of these drivers now probably aware they can just really start hammering that boost and make use of it.
Goodness me, the back of Matt Richards' car there hopping its way through the Cascades bend as the rebound and the dampers doing overtime as he carries maximum speed through that bend. So line astern they are. Looks like now she's been able to get ahead. Harley's able to make a bit of a gap from this group as they continue to scrap.
It very much reminds me of the Formula 1 boost at the moment, is to when drivers use it, because you can't use it on every single straight for the whole lap. So drivers are having to work out, do I use it to defend, do I use it to attack, do I use it for the whole straight, half a straight? So they kind of have to kind of work along, think on their toes as to what the driver behind or driver ahead is doing, if it's worth the move. It's probably worth pointing out also that Harley there on the soft tyres, and sadly everyone else behind is on the mediums. So holding it for now, but those soft tyres could go off by lap 14 or 15.
They could indeed. We'll have to see how she manages them. Speaking of management, Callum Wilson continues to lead on the soft tyres as well. But Herlock has not dropped off much here. He is still right in contention, and Salberg is right with them. As they were running towards Cascades, looks like we have Matt Richards. He's not done. He wants to get himself up into the top 10, and he's now starting to ask some questions of the Hyundai of Louis Neal as they run through Old Hill, down the avenue, down towards Cascades, over the rise, over the bump. Always tricky to judge this one as the track falls away from you, but through they go, cleanly on the exit, no running wide onto the grass there. Looks pretty even, and is this going to be another bold late? They move on the brakes, not this time around. The car skipping, bouncing over the bumps in that braking zone. So tricky for our drivers to modulate the brakes.
Yeah, it is indeed. I'm just kind of keeping tabs on Luke Mitchell in 4th place. Obviously, he lost there, bogged down at the start, lost a few spots. Did just get the fastest lap, last lap, 1:22.392. So again, one of those drivers just slowly making their way back to the back of Salberg, who's slowly making their way to Herlock, who has now lost a little bit of ground on Callum Wilson with now 1.2 second lead.
Say, one lap of boost for Dan Herlock. He's still not chosen to use it, but everyone else around him with ample supply. We're on lap 7 of 15, about to be 8. So this is going to get, we're only at halfway distance, folks, so it's still a long way to go as Wilson sets the fastest lap of the race last time around. And you can see there in your picture, Luke Mitchell, as Phil was just describing, slowly but surely catching the back of this battle.
And then Wilson goes and grabs the fastest lap back and extends the gap to 1.6. So maybe it's a little bit wide there from 11th place. That's Louis Neal. So that's Matt Richards up to 10th. Yeah, Wilson now with the fastest lap, just managing the gap, I imagine, just keeping it nice and easy. Look after those soft tyres.
So hearing drama down into the island bend from our cameraman extraordinaire as Dan Herlock and Emil Saarberg swapping a bit of paint by the sounds of it of this time of asking in the braking zone. Looks like Saarberg has had enough of being behind the BMW that Herlock is driving. Just looking a bit further back though, we haven't talked too much about P6 through P9, but here they all are, another little train, another little group. Scott Mitchell-Marm at the moment in 6th place, but looking at the back of Ryan Elliott Astra, but he's got quite a few cars for close company as well. And we've seen it on other circuits like Snetterton. If you go offensive and you go too offensive and you don't get the move done, oh my goodness me, speaking of getting the move done, you can find yourself in real trouble. And Herlock well off the road there, but holding on to it as contact in the background. I think that was the King's car, and more contact even still in the braking zone. It's the two Astras getting one-on-one.
Yeah, they needed the best Honda Flash and Matt Neal impression there. That was kind of everything that happened at once. It was kind of, must admit, it was kind of going a nice and easy race to kind of cool, not much happening, and now it's lap 9 is apparently when it all kicks off. As that was, so we saw Elliott get ahead of Scott Mitchell-Marm, and it looks like someone else tried following through, and then it kind of caused absolute chaos.
Okay. Chaos is a word. Hopefully we'll be able to get some replays for you, but yes, I think an individual moment from Herlock just running through the Druids corner, double right-hander, followed by another moment, potentially the same moment for the King's car. Just in the space of 30 seconds, everything is turned upside down for a few of our drivers. So still some time to recover. Scott Mitchell-Marm now in 9th from his 6th position. Not a huge loss, but he's got some work to do to pass the two cars ahead of him.
Yeah, he has, especially if Herlock rival is back in 3rd. Speaking of Herlock, let's have a little look. So Saarberg here, having a little look round. So early on the brakes for Herlock, seems all okay so far. Any contact, or is it just running right? It's just running a little bit wide. Yeah, obviously trying to hold on to a little slide, but just couldn't get it going. So yeah, Saarberg up to 2nd.
Yeah, it looks like the front end just didn't bite as Herlock was expecting, and off he went. But well held on the grass, not easy to do. Obviously, nowhere near the same amount of grip as the tarmac. Luke Mitchell now, he's seen the moments that Herlock's been having, perhaps a bit of too much understeer as the balance is moving through the course of the race, and he is right under the rear wing now of that BMW, down into the Cascade Bend. Defence from Herlock, looking to defend and hold his line. Holds on for now. We'll have to see what Mitchell can do on the boost. An extra 65 brake horsepower at his disposal, but over the rise into the braking zone, brake discs glow. They both run a little bit deep. Herlock really does not want to lose his podium position.
Yeah, Herlock did well there, forcing around the outside. It's really hard to overtake on the outside of the hairpin if you usually need to dive down the inside, as we see now a replay of what happened here. So we've got Elliott and Mitchell kind of going side by side, and they just kind of hooked up basically, didn't they? They're both lucky that, sadly for Elliott, he tried holding onto it and then just tapped his teammate. Luckily, both of them did hold position there, and Mitchell just lost a handful of spots.
In a strange sort of way, it's a good thing your teammate was there to catch you almost and keep you and repoint you in the right direction. So teamwork takes many forms tonight. So Thomas Wack helping out his teammate Ryan Elliott, but he's now under all sorts of pressure with Jordan Hyde's Hyundai now asking some questions as he wants to make his way forward into 6th place himself. So on the brakes they go. I think a bit of tyre smoke, perhaps overheating from one of the cars as they're running into the Lodge corner on this, the 11th time of asking. But they all stay as they are, running over the start finish.
Yeah, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on Luke Mitchell and Herlock at the moment. The gap's kind of just gone up to 3/10. So it's worth keeping an eye on these guys. Though this is the main train to follow, as Callum's got a nice 2.3 second lead over Saarberg. So Saarberg's caught up a little bit, but 5 laps to go, 1/3 of the race remaining. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough.
I agree. Looks like it's starting to come together potentially a little bit for Dan Herlock and Luke Mitchell as well. Just a half a second or so separating those two. But what a treat we've got here from P5 all the way down to P9 now. Matt Richards joining in the action. And I do think one of these cars is definitely starting to overheat. I'm seeing some puffs of white smoke, which is the engine getting a bit too warm and starting to complain. But hopefully we won't have a car catching fire, which is not what I was expecting to see in Cheshire today.
No, not indeed. You see Matt Richards here in 9th place, going okay. Obviously, you got Harley just half a second, and then like I said, the kind of tail of this this train. There's about half a second gap between some of these guys. But even Ben Willis is only Ben Willis is down in 12th place there.
Yes, you can see the timing tower.
Threw me off.
Ben in
Sorry about
many
that.
different lights, but yes, Ben down in 12th place, circulating nicely. Looks like Jordan Hyde has had enough of following the back of Thomas Wack here. He's trying to engineer a move through, made him go defensive. Everyone though just about making their way through Old Hall Corner.
Oh, indeed. There's different lines on this corner. I used to hate this one because you could kind of dive it down the inside and still hold it. And yeah, hopefully don't get too fisty into the hairpin. It's one Astra going wide and one trying to take the tight line, and the third car trying to take the tighter line.
Oh no!
Where's that going, Mr. Willis? That's going towards the international circuit. As I'm also seeing, that's our first yellow flag.
Yeah, I think I saw a King's Honda potentially involved there as well, but again, all at once, the hairpin is catching everybody out, certainly catching out Willis there, unfortunately, and I think, like I say, a King's Honda involved there too. Hopefully we may be able to get a replay of that one. So meanwhile, the duo of the kart marketplace Astras continue covering each other. Jordan Hyde almost caught out in a big way and off onto the grass on the exit of the Druids corner this time around. I think just a check-up there, catching him out.
Yes, that's what's going on here then. So this is Ben on the left. Is that? Oh, it kind of feels like that car, the Mitchell Mum was going a bit late towards the left, given the wider entry into the chicane, and Ben was there on the left side. So that will be one for the stewards, I imagine.
Yes, 2 into 1 does not go.
I've just seen also Dave Brewster spin, sorry, at the last corner. That's why there's a yellow flag in Sector 3.
Oh, there we go. So few dramas going on around the circuit. I think our first yellow flag of the whole race that I recall seeing. But anyway, putting that to one side, it looks like we've got some folks using their boost. They've been saving their powder for the last moments of the race. Jordan Hyde, who was on the attack just a few moments ago, now well and truly under siege from Harley London. Everyone on the boost, and here comes Matt Richards using that rear-wheel drive traction out of that slow corner. I think he's got just about alongside. Can he make another move on the brakes? Contact! But the front-wheel drive front-wheel drive Ford Focus, I beg your pardon, pulls through and corrects itself. So contact there, touring car action, nothing lost apart from a little bit of time.
Yep, so Harley will be using a bit of time towards the cars ahead, so that's now got a 8/10 gap. So you can see Richard may be the faster driver, but he still will get around them cleanly as the kart marketplace of RSR battles continue, and we'll have Matt Richards in the background. Are they going to try and move as well? Looks like nope, not for now.
So certainly no team orders going on here. Hard racing, the order of the day between those two. Looking a bit further forward, Luke Mitchell still trying to work out a way past Daniel Herlock on the medium tyre with his 1 lap of boost. We'll have to wait for the graphics to cycle around to see the current state of play. But Herlock doing a great job hanging on. Looks like honours even 1 lap of boost each. Herlock surviving with a lot less boost than Mitchell. But Mitchell still has a few opportunities here to try and make a pass happen.
I wouldn't be surprised if those soft tyres and that front-wheel drive are gone now, though. And I feel like the opportunity's passed. It's kind of this lap or nothing, but the gap seems too big for this lap. So I think if Herlock's just got a little bit of boost just on that last lap, would just help them slightly to kind of hold on to that 3rd place, maybe.
Maybe, and we have seen our drivers use the boost to cover the tyre offset when the tyres have worn away. Again, another little sneaky strategy that some drivers put to good use. We'll have to see, though, if you're on the money there that the soft tyres have gone away and there's no advantage to be had. Speaking of advantage, looks like Matt Richards still trying to find a way past the Ford Focus of Harley London. No way through found on the run up to Druids Corner of this time of asking, but it's the exit here, the run down towards the heavy braking zone of Lodge, where there may be an opportunity side by side late on the brakes with yellow flag in sector 1, and it looks like Richards has been able to sneak up the inside.
Yeah, no idea who that flag is for. I think Phil Garside may have just gone a little bit sideways. A good picture in picture for the final lap, and we've not really talked that much about Callum Wilson. Kind of feel like he's doing a kind of final kind of lap of honour. He's 6 seconds ahead, 6.5 seconds, sorry, ahead of Emil Salberg. Still has used up all their boost, but I think it should be quite easy going from here.
So we do not authorise the curse of the commentator, but yes, Callum, we've not talked a huge amount about him, but he's built a 6.5 second advantage ever since he was able to make his way past Dan Hurlock. Truly a flawless, faultless drive, very much the case of just get your overtake done and focus on what you need to do. So as he makes his way into the third and final sector of the lap for this first race, we've still got the little duel going on around P5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Richards now ahead of London. Can he make his way past Hyde in just the few remaining corners? I think there's only one real overtaking opportunity for Richards if he wanted to utilise it, but we'll have to keep an eye on that in about 10 or so seconds time. Let's give our plaudits and congratulations to Callum Wilson for Sector 1 Esports, crossing the start-finish line. He won the third race last round. He starts tonight with another win. Fantastic result. Emil Salberg coming home briefly in second place. There he is, and late, all crossed up on the brakes, but it looks like Jordan Hyde is going to hang on to seventh. Oh, it's a drag race. Can that rear-wheel drive power deliver? Yes, it can. Matt Richards steals seventh place. My goodness me, a real drag race there right at the end. Unlucky there for Jordan Hyde, but Dan Holock finishing third, but with Luke Mitchell following, Ryan Elliott in fifth, and then our fantastic little run here of Thomas Wack, Matt Richards, Jordan Hyde, Harley London, and Louis Neal rounding out the top 10.
Yep, the other points goers are Cedo Wire, Zachary Evans, Martha Allington, Matthew Williams, and then Cameron Brewster, 15th, getting first point, first race, first point. So that's not a bad way to start, open your bank account.
Not at all. Not the race I was expecting. I was expecting a bit more, tactics throughout the first race, but no, a real little tinder pot of racing there. Really bubbled up nicely towards the end of this first race. So we've got two more of these to come, folks, with a mix-up of boost, of tyres. We're only just getting started this evening.
Yeah, I think not much happened for 9 laps, and then everything happened suddenly. So we made use of that picture in picture as it all kicked off, and 1 down, 2 to go. That was a good starter.
Good starter indeed. So we'll run through the final finishing positions in just a moment, but that is round 10 in the books. Oulton Park already starting to deliver plenty of action and plenty of challenge with a few thrills and spills, and with now a mixed up grid, a mixed up tyre allocation, a mixed up boost usage, we'll have to see how our drivers adapt.
Yeah, I think obviously Hurlock will now, ironically, Hurlock from third place is going to actually gain more boost. So just confirm there, Callum Wilson gets the win for Sector 1 Esports, Emil Salberg in second. Dan Hurlock in third, with Luke Mitchell getting fourth there, and he lost a few places from pole. Ryan Elliott and Thomas Mack for Cart Marketplace, fifth and sixth. Matt Witch is seventh. Jordan Hyde in 8th place with Harley London in 9th, and it's Louis Neal in the PMM powered by Richards & Co Racing in 10th. 11th place is Cedo Wire for Brabham Motorsport with Zachary Evans in 12th. Mark Allington 13th, YTF Racing with Matthew Williams, Craven Racing in 14th. Cameron Brewster, as I said, getting a first point on the board in 15th. Carl Benson in 16th. Scott Mitchell-Marm, which seems to be involved in a few tussles, down in 17th. Ben Willis recovered to 18th with Alan Smith in 19th, Dave Brewster in 20th, and Phil Garside in 21st, which must be one of the few races we've had where actually all runners and riders have finished.
Yeah, I think you're right. Cameron Extraordinaire also chipping in. Everyone on the lead lap as well, which is good to see. Yes, normally there is a little bit of attrition in touring car racing, but not in our first race. So that's a good start. More of that. I'd like to see all of our drivers finishing well, of course, in the the 2 remaining races. Now, if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about TCUK, feel free to head on over to our website, Virtual Motorsport Online, which is vmo-simracing.co.uk. There you'll find out more about TCUK, the league, the various different series and championships that we run, and of course links to our Discord server, where there's a flourishing and growing community of like-minded motorsport enthusiasts. And well, there's been plenty of discussion and our little off-season break. One of those points of discussion, and perhaps a little bit of a parish notice, a few tweaks to the cars between rounds.
Yeah, so they've obviously after the 3 rounds, it gave the admins, the team, the test team, to have a look at the cars, see how, if do cars need to be buffed or nerfed, I suppose, or balance of performance, as we call it in the racing world. So just to kind of help out body drag to equalize top speed and acceleration across the acceleration curve. So the admins, they never state what's been given, what's been taken. They did call out the Honda having given a minor weight increase, while the rear-wheel drive received a minor weight decrease, just to balance it out a little bit. So we may have noticed King's Racing making good use of those Hondas early on in the season to get a nice haul of points. Obviously, that will now offset that slightly, and we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the season and whether other tweaks will be made if needed.
Absolutely. So, of course, a mixture of different wheelbase lengths, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive. Try and use the balance of performance to try and keep everything nice and close, nice and even, nice and fair and balanced. And of course, then the special sauce, the secret sauce, is the driver skill. And as you're already seeing, the top drivers are still very much at the front of the field, so that is good to see. And credit to Emil Saarberg. That Honda was pretty rapid throughout that race, so it's still a strong car, strong choice. We'll have to see how everyone makes use of their equipment and develops the equipment as the season goes on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You've got to understand the people that obviously make the balance of performance have an impossible job in the real world as much as the virtual world, because you have to try and work out how much of that is just a good car, how much of that is a good setup, and how much of that is just a good driver. I mean, we've seen Herlock has a very unique style with that BMW, just kind of taking it sideways everywhere, and it works. So is the BMW overpowered? Well, we have other people on BMWs that are in the mix. So is that setup or is that driver? And it's nearly impossible sometimes. So you kind of have to play it a little bit by ear, I suppose. But it looks like what they've done is hasn't hindered the racing, so to say.
Absolutely not. And certainly I think back to, I'll call it my competitive days, a long time ago now, the amount of time you can spend on finding the secret source of a setup, spending hundreds, thousands of laps maybe in practice. Obviously, it's great to see the racing and everyone having a good tussle, but there is a lot of work behind the scenes to get folks on the grid and comfortable. So absolutely. A great equalizer, the balance of performance, trying to bring everyone closer together, but that's no replacement for hard work and, of course, skill.
Indeed. I remember many a times of trying to get that. I mean, you've actually have interest. You've mainly done rear-wheel drive, haven't you? Did you ever do front-wheel drive?
So, a long time ago, yes, in a Ford Focus, but I do typically prefer rear-wheel drive. I like to use my right foot to rotate the car, so...
See, I used to do, obviously, I've probably done more of a mix then, because I've done rear wheel and front wheel. I remember the Vorg, I've done the, have I done the BMW? Or was it Infinity? I've done one of the rear wheel drives before obviously the old 1 Series, I remember BMW, but then in my later years, I found the ease of, I mean, you can kind of use the throttle, the right throttle, what am I saying? The throttle to angle out the car in a front wheel drive. It's just power out everything. So I ended up doing a lot of front-wheel drive stuff at the end in my trusty Ford Focus, which I drive in the real world as well.
So this is where we discover your setup was having 2 throttles for the 2 different wheels, and that was your secret. So
yeah, that was it. If in doubt, more power.
Exposed. There we go. The secrets are all coming out tonight. So yes, a tweak to some of the cars, but I'm sure not a tweak or a difference to the caliber of the racing. So we're just in our final few moments before warm-up for the second race of this evening will conclude. As we kind of expected, Phil, boost playing a huge factor, but a few mistakes out there on track tonight. Perhaps that's something to keep an eye out for in the next race.
Yeah, I think it's also going to be fun to see the likes of Scott Mitchell will be down near the back of the grid, starting with lots of boost. See how far they can get up. But obviously, for race 3, it's a 7 to 12 reverse grid, so you really want to be in the ballpark to kind of get a good chance of getting that reverse grid pole for race 3. Something I've done before. It's very useful. And so yeah, I think for Scott, it's try and get top 10. Likewise for those guys that are starting on softs now, of which there are. Let me just quickly grab the document. Dave Brewster. Oh, Scott Mitchell Marm. So that's convenient. Starting on softs. Cedo, Louis Neal, Matt Richards, and then so just those 5 for race 2. There's a lot of people for race 3. Spoiler alert. Be fun. I'm gonna have fun watching Scott, I think, for race 2. What about you?
Tricky one to call. I think you've got some quick folks who now have to very quickly adjust their strategies. So I wouldn't put it past the likes of Dan Herlock. Now he has a little bit more boost that he may be able to make something magic happen. He was defending beautifully during that first race, and the narrow nature, and there's not a huge number of overtaking opportunities on this Oulton Park island layout. If he can get himself ahead, I think he may be in a strong position.
Yeah. How many race 2 wins did Dan Herlock get last season? I think it was nearly every single race.
That's a very good question, and just looking at my little book here of the results so far for the whole of round 2, Dan Herlock finished in second place in the second race. So yes, lots of second place finishes for Dan Herlock across the course of the championship so far. So yes, he's been a bit of a master at that.
Oh yeah, So third at Donington, third in race 2 at Donington, second race 2 Brands, first at race 2 Snetterton. So he's kind of now has to finish 0th, or did he get like a minus number now? Is he now going to be the first retirement? Is that how it works? I hope not. Commentator's curse. Seeing his lowest position finish is 10th at the moment. I think he'll be hanging around in those podium positions. They can get a few extra laps of boost in their pocket.
Goodness me, what a stat that is, though. Worst finish of 10th. Championships are built on your worst result, so that's quite a stat already that Dan has there. Well, you mentioned, Phil, just as we're waiting for drivers to get ready for the second race, you mentioned, as we've been running for most of the races so far this year, a little bit of homework, extracurricular track activity in the run up to this one, which is of course logically in the middle of summer, driving in the snow. So how was driving in the snow around Oulton Park for you?
It was worse than Brands when I tried it. Like the front wheel drive, obviously you've got that front wheel drive grip. I say grip, I use that term lightly. That I could get through I get through turn 1, and then I had to basically brake before even going downhill for Cascades. It had to brake so early, otherwise you end up accidentally creating the short circuit and just going straight on. So I did get around the lap. Also, the Island Bend, I think you're braking about 500 meters before anything happens. And again, there's so many downhill braking zones, interesting. A hilltop and down to Hislops. Even Deer Leap, even the last corner, which we're having an argument about, isn't really a corner. You just kind of turn left a little bit. Yeah, it definitely isn't the snow. I can say that for nothing. And I think I'm talking about obviously rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. I'm showing my age because yet again, just couldn't get around turn 1 in the BMW. Just couldn't get through it. I just kept spinning out. So it was interesting in front-wheel drive. I actually found it better than Brands because I think you had a bit more thinking time, especially that last sector, that last bit of Brands Hatch Indy. You need to brake 500 meters before the corner, but you had a bit of time at least out of Cascades to go, right, let's line myself up now. A good laugh. And also very useful at Island Bend is having 20 AI ahead of you. They make brilliant brakes. Not sure the stewards would be happy with my technique, however.
Yes, let's keep that one on the down low, shall we? But there we go. I mean, we'll be going to Thruxton next time out, 2 weeks. Any snow adventures for you there, Phil, in the run-up?
Not yet. I need to check if that one is actually on Project Cars. I think it's not, because Project Cars had the... what's the company that owns all the tracks in the UK?
So it's Motorsport Vision, but of course Thruxton is not owned by Motorsport Vision.
Yeah, which is why it's not on there. Motorsport Vision own Oulton Brands, and that's why they ended up on Project Cars. But yeah, sadly, there is no Thruxton. So I'll manage to put R factor 2 at 100% wetness, and have a go with that.
I was going to say, other sims at 100% wetness, as we're just hearing in my ear, I would agree. That would definitely be a challenge. Monsoon-like conditions bring your umbrellas and bring you gazebos. Anyway, we are just about to move forward into our second race of the evening. A big hello to all of you watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello to the Kitty Cat 191 Racing, Jordan R0052. Wonderful to have you with us and chatting away. I agree, 191 Racing. The worst finish of 10th, I would dream of that as well. So yes, just as we're waiting for the formation lap and us to migrate into the second race of the evening, we will get our starting grid together.
Yeah, it's a bit dark on the track at the moment. It's just gridding up, and it's cloudy. It's 20-degree air temperature, 36 track temperature. Not having 36 degrees air temperature. God, had that a few weeks ago and sod that. It's a bit dark. It's not meant to rain, but it is definitely dark. So we'll just keep an eye on that. As I can hear the cameraman in the background going, rain, rain, rain. That would spice it up a little bit, especially for race 2 shenanigans. Yeah, just something to keep an eye on.
Something indeed. Of course, hot energy, sudden changes in climatic conditions, thunderstorms. Who knows what may come forward? But yes, you can definitely see now that we are away on our formation lap. It's definitely a bit grayer. Ooh, a car in the pit lane there. Perhaps didn't quite make it to grid in time. So as our drivers make their way around the lap, we will call out the starting order, and Phil definitely will need your help for some of those towards the back. So starting on pole position will be Callum Wilson. He'll be followed by Mil Salberg, Daniel Herlock starting in third place. Luke Mitchell will be in fourth, followed by Ryan Elliott, and Thomas Vack will round out the third row. Matt Richards will start seventh, followed by Jordan Hyde, Harley London in ninth, and rounding out our top 10, Louis Neal.
We then have Cedo Wire in 11th and Zachary Evans in 12th. Martha Allington, the sole Toyota of YTF Racing, in 13th. Matthew Williams starting in 14th. Cameron Brewster starting 15th, and Carl Benton for Team 22 16th. Then it's the one to watch for me, Scott Mitchell-Marm, starting in 17th for Kings Racing. Ben Willis, Control Esports by Drake Racing, in 18th. Alan Smith, will he finish 16th this evening? Starting 19th, so you never know tonight. Dave Brewster in 20th, and then Phil Garside, who has kind of left the pit lane. Not quite sure if they will get a black flag or start from pits. They're absolutely gunning it in the warm-up lap, so we'll see how that one plays up shortly.
Yes, of course, drivers need to circulate, get a feel for the conditions, feel for the track, feel for their cars, different tyres, different boost levels, of course, to work with in a few moments' time. So everyone just feeling out their machines and seeing what levels of grip they have got. So as we are now approaching Lodge Corner here, we will have our drivers starting to form up and take their grid positions. Not quite sure what this Calamity Focus is going to do, if he's going to go back to the pit lane or if he has a penalty to serve. We will find out.
I don't think they know either. They're going to try and take the grid, and R Factor will put them in the pit lane if needs be, but we'll see what happens.
All right. So on board with Scott Mitchell-Marm and his soft tyres, we have the wide shot. We now wait for the engine notes to rise and the lights to come on. Lights out and away we go, and it's another good start for the BMWs. Pretty even though this time, and my goodness me, I think that was Matt Richards flying through the middle of the midfield there. Through turn one they go, everyone pretty much line astern. Matt Richards already up to fifth place from seventh. He's not hanging around to the start of the race two. Down into Cascades they go for the first time of asking. Looks like we've got a fairly single file row here through the top five, but wide, double wide, back down into the midfield.
Yep, Scott Mitchell-Marm's made a couple of places up himself at the start as we go 2 by 2. As that's Herlock diving for the inside. There's a bit of a traffic jam now at the hairpin.
Say bold move, Herlock not wanting to waste any time. He's got 3 laps of boost. He's tripled his allocation, and he has plans to make and take hold of this second race. Through they go through the Hislop chicane. Side by side action. Got Martha Allington, one of the Brabham Honda Civics there, along with, I think this is Scott Mitchell-Marm, Cedo there in front, Cedo Wire. wiggling, wobbling, up the hill they go. No way through here. Into Druids they go down in picture-in-picture. Out of Druids they go on main vision. Herlock all over the back of Wilson. Wilson covers the inside. Ooh, over the crest, little wobble, little movement there, and up through goes Salberg. One little mistake, and it is punished.
That was a beautiful move to get that back from Salberg, as Mitchell Marm is also taking names, already up to 13th, fighting 12th and 11th. And yeah, great start from them. But these three are kind of checking out already.
Absolutely, they are wanting to perhaps build a little gap, control the race. They'll perhaps work together, a bit of racecrafters. Oh no, Richard's off after a strong start. He's off into the kitty litter at Cascades. Got to rejoin safely. Tricky here. Car's obviously very committed, very loaded, but he's found a good slot there. Looks like a Drake BMW going to make his way. Pie is, oh, looks like we've got more action. Herlock trying to get past the Honda Civic of Salberg, but he's having none of it.
That's a great battle at the front here. I think we should probably keep our eye on this, as Mitchell's trying to catch up to make it a four-way battle, as everyone else is trying to make it into one massive battle. And if they keep doing that and don't check out, there could be a bit of trouble later on. But they're all holding on for now. And obviously, yeah, you know, Wilson's only got 1 lap, Salberg's got 2 laps of boost, and Herlock's got 3. So they're all trying to save it as well. But as we go further back, more laps of boost, it could all kick off.
It's certainly getting a bit fruity, a bit spicy. Of course, different tyre compounds. Wilson on the medium, perhaps just getting used to that. Salberg on the medium now, but perhaps that front wheel drive just heating those tyres up a bit more nicely for him on the front axle. And we've got Herlock sliding, dancing his BMW all the way through the lap, as always, trying to make an opportunity happen. Mitchell Marm here under pressure, trying to make his way past Cedo Wire, but he's got Martha Allington for close company. To the left, to the right she goes, onto the racing line, trying to cause something to happen here through Old Hill Corner. Nothing this time around, but now looks like Mitchell Marm's got a run and an opportunity on Wire around the outside of Cascades.
Herlock's down to 6th place. He's got a problem. Don't know what's happened there, but they dropped like a stone. Sorry to cut him.
No, that's fine. It looks like Herlock had a mistake or an issue there, and he is now fallen from the top 3. Scott Mitchell Marm, though, he's made his way forward on the run into the island bend this time round. A little mistake there from the Brabham car on the exit of Old Hall, and that move was done. Here's a replay.
So Herlock on the inside, a little tap. There is a little tap. I mean, it's brave to go down the inside there, and it's obviously, like I said, you need a good exit, and if you don't, you just lose those places. So 3rd to 6th there for Herlock. How many will they be able to make back with less boost than those cars around them?
We will have to see. Attack becomes defense, and if you don't get that move quite right, and if there's not quite enough space, you can find yourself very much poorer off, and that is what Herlock has found this time round. Louis Neal in 5th place now has that recovering Dan Herlock for close company. That BMW looks like it's definitely a bit more lively in this second race compared to the first, but at this point in time, pretty good even exit out of the last corner as they run towards turn 1. No way through there.
Yeah, Louis Neal, you know, just crosses over all the time. It just about holds it together. Like I said, Louis Neal's got 10 laps of boost to Herlock's 3. So even if Herlock does attack, they can just go use the boost to pull away. I'm getting the feeling here that Herlock's, dare I say it, struggling a little bit. Seems to be a lot more crossover here.
It does certainly look to be a handful, but as we've seen in previous years, that is seemingly how he extracts speed from cars. So is it an issue? Is it his driving style? We'll have to see. But he's only 3 seconds from the leader. So this is far from over. Our leader still remains our pole position man, Callum Wilson. He has a second advantage over Salberg, but everyone else is line astern. So while that was a moment for Herlock just a few moments ago, he's still very much in touch with the leaders.
Yep, agreed. And it also means good news for people like Scott Mitchell, who's down in 10th and also catching up on the back of Matthew Williams in 9th.
Yes, so as drivers continue to circulate, coming through the Druid corner, a tricky double right-hander with undulation for good measure. They make their way towards Druid. Scott Mitchell Marm starting to ask some questions at the back of this Hyundai, hard on the brakes. Up, under, oh, and contact on the exit, not ideal. Matthew Williams going not the direction he was perhaps thinking. Scott Mitchell Marm definitely wanting to make some progress. He can't obviously drive through your opponents.
Yeah, I think that was Mitchell Marm trying to cut underneath and Williams going to defend it at the same time, and luckily all held together. It's worth pointing out Herlock now up to 5th past Louis Neal.
So Herlock starts the recovery. Interesting to see, assuming that the graphics are with us, and I have no reason to see why they aren't for the boost. Our top 5 has not used any boost yet, and we're a third of the way through the race. So the powder keg will ignite before too long, and it will be an arms race. Once the first bit of boost starts to be used, everyone will be on it, much like an undercut in entire strategy. I think we're going to have a boost undercut.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great fun to watch. As yeah, Scott Mitchell Mum in 10th has made 7 places. Also, shout out to Ben Willis, running around in 12th, has made up 6 places so far this race. So good recovery, drive race 2 ahead. As we get an onboard of Herlock, we can get to see their unique driving style, I suppose is one way of saying it, as we go through the right hand of the last few corners, sector 3. But that actually looked like a normal corner to them. Maybe the exit was a little bit sideways.
Yes, a lot of steering input on the way in, and then a little bit of a catch on the way out. Oh my goodness me, what a camera angle! A little bit of an overtake move here on Thomas Vack on the exit, and he's made it work. Look at that, just putting himself on the inside. Got obviously the outside shot from the picture-in-picture here as they run down into turn 1, but Herlock comfortably ahead. But driving, you either want to see a lot of movement or very little movement. Nice and smooth style. I think certainly Herlock is on the lot of movement end of the spectrum, but he's at 1 with his machine, and it is doing exactly what he needs.
Yeah, it does indeed. As now looking past Mitchell as well, so already up back into the podium position.
So Mitchell not giving this one up though. He's definitely there on the brakes. A little bit of rubbing. Ooh, a little bit of contact perhaps there with the bumper on the exit. That's going to be a bit tricky to manage, but Herlock has made it work. Emil Salberg just ahead. He's starting to use the boost. This is music though to the ears of Callum Wilson. 3 seconds his advantage while all of this melee has played out.
Yeah, I was looking at Scott Mitchell Mum here trying to get to 9th position. He's got the inside for this left-hander and the outside for the right-hander, but it's already done. And that's Scott Mitchell up to 9th. 2 and a bit second gap now to the car ahead. Harley London in 8th.
As they run up the hill, looks like Cedo Wire looking to go the very long way around through the grass to try and get past Matthew Williams. Oh, that's brave side by side through Druids. It can work and has. Wow, well done, folks, for leaving shutter space. Good racing. As Herlock is a man possessed, he's up to 2nd place. He's been able to get up and alongside Emil Salberg as they exit the last corner. Salberg on the boost, but still doesn't really have an answer for that BMW side by side on the brakes through the Old Hall corner for the 7th time of asking. Herlock secures the position.
Yeah, I was wondering if Salberg was trying to get an extra little bit of boost just to get enough alongside to put Herlock under pressure, but they were having none of it. They were quite happy to go, nope, I've got this bit of track, thank you very much, I'm happy with where I am. And that's Herlock up to 2nd, but obviously Salberg will have to try and get back up the hill shortly.
Oh, that's certainly a difference in closing speed here between Louis Neal and I think that's Ryan Elliott behind. Louis splitting the 2 kart place Astras at this moment of time. Louis on the brakes. I think Ryan just a little bit caught out. Little nudge in the bumper. Nothing wrong with that into the island hairpin. But here we go. We have got Herlock, Salberg, Mitchell, Wack, Neal and Elliott all pretty much together, and Neal looks like he's got a really good front end on that Hyundai. Definitely asking some questions of Wack just ahead.
Yep, using the boost to have the outside for the right hander though, unless they can get ahead before it, which I think they have. A little bit squirrely under the brakes, but just about holds it together. That's Louis Neal back up to 5th.
Chef's kiss, lovely stuff around the outside. You don't tend to see that, but that's some good racing between both. Nice and clean. Now, can Louis continue this momentum forward towards Mitchell? Mitchell 4 laps of boost, he's used none. Louis making good use of his maximum allocation.
Yeah, that's the way to use it, and just kind of to see what the other guys do with it. And I mean, even Louis Neal making 5 places is great, as now Mitchell's made 8, and Ben Willis is still in 12, so they've made 6 places up. So they're the main movers at the moment.
And you mentioned it earlier, Phil, but the 3rd race always has a bit of added spice because it is a reverse grid draw, P6 or 7 or so, down to P12. So these positions, P12 and up, are hugely critical. Everyone wanting to finish as well as possible to give themselves the best chance of a pole position.
Yep, as we cut back now to Luke Mitchell in 4th. Like I said, one hell of a train here now. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th getting involved. As still, Louis doing a few of his laps. I think now actually Louis has enough to use to the end. So I imagine Louis aiming to take Mitchell and Salberg, and there is actually a podium for Neal here, possibly.
Quite possibly, and of course I've just put 2 and 2 together. Louis, of course, has the soft tyres, so perhaps this is that extra bit of grip that those softer compounds allow, a bit more speed, a little bit later braking, and he's using whatever advantages he has to great effect. He definitely looks one of the quickest cars on track at the moment, and he's really asking a lot of questions of Mitchell here, who's really having to defend.
Yeah, and I think Salberg went wide there, so they're all kind of sticking close together as Mitchell Mum looks like he's having a look at the inside of Salberg, and Neil trying around the outside. Sorry, Luke Mitchell, not Mitchell Mum, apologies. Where is Neil going, left or right? He's going to try and have the right-hand side, or they go around the long way down the hill. Still there, though, so hopefully has enough just to kind of keep it going. Are they going to use another lap of boost? I think they can, but for now, the gap's back out a bit.
Yeah, tricky to pass a car through cascades. It can be done, but normally it's the undercut on the exit which gets the move done, but Louis still has plenty of time to try and make his way forward, and he's on the boost on the exit over the hill. Good place to use that boost advantage. Mitchell immediately defends. Louis goes to the racing line. Can he throw it and hang it around the outside? No, he can't. So good defense here from Mitchell, holding on to his position, and Salberg here I think will be very happy to see this action going on. It means he can focus forward and try and hit his marks. But look at the boost power, look at the advantage. Oh, contact! Oh dear. Looks like he may be able to hang on to that one, but that is certainly not what you want to be seeing as you've got to run out of the corner and 65 extra horsepower being deployed.
Yeah, I need to see Luke's inputs there. I feel like that was a bit of a last minute kind of second movement, but luckily they all survived to fight another day. But that'll be one for the stewards later if they finish like this.
Just hearing that Wire was able to get past Scott Mitchell-Marm in the last few moments, and we've not really mentioned Callum Wilson. He continues to lead, 3.6 seconds his advantage at this time, but now that he's been able to escape, Dan Herlock is certainly got some clear water between himself and Salberg in third. So can Herlock catch Wilson by the end of the race? That is a big ask, I think, 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's come down a little bit. It's kind of now hovering. Again, I think that's just Wilson just playing it easy, look after those medium tyres, as they did in race one, looking after the soft. So yeah, so far so good for them.
Indeed. You've got to take care of your race, and in order to finish first you have to finish. Sometimes the most enjoyable races are the most boring. You can just focus on what you need to do, and so far Callum is doing a perfect job. So not to put the commentator's curse, there he is, still circulating and leading in superb style. This scrap though for P3 and 4 continues, and now we've got even more people starting to buy in. We've now got Vac and Elliot coming in to join the party. So I think if I were Louis Neal, obviously a little bit of frustration perhaps. Why have I not been able to quite get past this guy? Oh, there's a little bit of a look there late on the brakes. A little bit of an opportunist move there. Perhaps Mitchell not quite expecting that one. He's still there. I think he's got the run. He's got the exit up over Deer Leap. They go over the start finish. Louis is there, rubbing, banging, trading of paint, and Louis finally gets his car ahead. But can he keep the car ahead? Delayed on the exit. They are still side by side, rubbing together down into Cascades. Who's going to be brave on the brakes? Equal on the brake pedal at the same time. And through Cascades they go. Louis Neal hangs on and finally secures that 4th place.
Yeah, now you're seeing with Mitchell taking that wider line, that's not going to work.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh, huge contact. That's taken out Salberg and quite a few others. Oh, goodness me. That is the unfortunate nature of having a right-hand hairpin. That is going to be quite the mess to sort out.
Somehow Salberg is still going. So they must have just missed Salberg by like mere inches.
Oh my goodness me. I'm glad of that.
They were saved by the tyre barrier at the hairpin actually saved them. Otherwise, they would have had a face full of Vauxhall.
Oh, thank goodness for that. Never good to be collected. Salberg just minding their own business, and then you have a group of cars coming towards you. So big drama there, quite a few affected. We'll have to perhaps get a replay and see how that one sorts itself out.
Yeah, I think Luke Mitchell isn't very happy with that one. We get a replay here. So Luke Mitchell's got the wide line. Obviously, that gives Neil the 5th place, and then they've got Thomas Wack on their left. So is that Luke? So just 2 into 1, and it's just not going to work, guys. And yeah, that was that, and then just kind of ends up parking at the hairpin, and no fault there at that point. But yeah, I think that was Wack moving to the right to defend. Mitchell moving to the left to kind of get the line for the hairpin, and kind of them both meeting in the middle and turning each other around. So that's a real shame. But it has bumped a few people up that weren't expecting podiums and stuff.
Yes, and the contact still continues. We have Martha Allington here, and I think that is the recovering Louis Neal, just having a little bit of a bump there, going through the Cascades corner. But yes, the straight, it is not straight. It does kink, it does move from right to left, left to right, and I do wonder if 2 and 1 just didn't quite go there. Another replay angle, Phil.
Yes, this is Thomas Vack's view of it all. So obviously, we're going to get we can't quite see where they link, but you'll see how lucky that Salberg was that there's an extra kind of kink out of the tyre barrier. So you're just there. That's how lucky Salberg was that there's someone, whoever made this track, they put an extra little bit of tyres there, and that saved Salberg the 3rd place. As we see Louis Neal up to 6th as Harley London goes very sideways through the right-hander.
Yes, it's again, much like the first race, the second race, it's starting to be a bit of a cow to peg. It's all starting to kick off in the final stages. And yes, a few drivers are going to benefit from this. And again, that reverse grid draw, we've got a few folks now in that draw that might not have been otherwise. We've got the likes of Matt Richards, who obviously had his moment early on. He's now in that top 12 at the moment. And here we have Martha just on the fringes of it. So everything's still to race for, with just a few laps to go here in race 2.
Yeah, there's Cameron Brewster now up to 14th. We'll also like a piece of that. If it is 12, is the reverse pole. And gap between Herlock and Wilson has come down. It's now 2.2 seconds while this has all been going on. 3 laps to go. See how much boost they've each got left. Yeah, big gap now to Salberg. 9 seconds between Herlock and Salberg in 3rd. So Herlock can just keep doing their laps and try and catch up to Wilson to put them under a bit of pressure at the end of the race.
Absolutely, the gap has come down. It was 3.5 seconds a few laps ago. It's now down to 2. Herlock with that fastest lap, so definitely just keeping to his mark, hitting his marks and getting the maximum pace out of his BMW. The boost tree lighting up. Question from Carlos Mencena 116. Yet our drivers, they have a push to pass system. They are limited to the amount of time that they have. It's roughly about 65 brake horsepower they gain access to, but the amount of, or the number of laps that they're allowed to use it on is limited based on finishing position. So something to manage throughout the race. Could be used to attack, could be used to defend, but as is being demonstrated tonight around the Oulton Park Island circuit, it is a huge advantage for those who have it.
It is indeed, and it's also worth pointing out that Wilson, someone's going on for lawn cutting again there. Wilson's only got 1 lap of boost, Herlock's got 3, so we may see this gap drop down further on these last 2 laps. But I think Herlock's given himself too much to do now with the gap at 2.3 seconds.
So all starting to crescendo right in the final few moments. Herlock using up his boost allocation, has the fastest lap of the race. We'll have to see how close he can get to Wilson, and if Wilson can just keep his eyes forward and close out this race. Cedo Wire up into 5th place, a good return for him, up 6 places, which is a good result, I think, on any race day. He's perhaps just keeping an eye though on this scrap between Salberg and Elliott. They are fighting over the final podium position. All of these folks on the boost trying to steal an advantage.
Yeah, again, I wonder if it's Harley London. Obviously, he's got the medium tyres, surrounded by soft tyre people around them. I wonder if anyone's softs are now going to start struggling on as we near the final lap, and can hopefully pick up any pieces going.
Yep, it's a sprint format. It's only about a 25 or so minute race, but managing the resources you've got is a huge factor to it, particularly when we go to places like Thruxton in a few weeks. We have to run the hard tyres because it's so abrasive. Even then, you can really wear your tyres out. But those running on the softs, they seem to be doing a good job of it in the second race. Medium runners look to be pretty consistent. So good job to those on the softs, getting them out and well utilised, as you mentioned. Lots of soft runners in the third race, so plenty of fireworks there. We haven't had much of a chance to really call the action from Callum Wilson's point of view. He again has had an absolutely commanding control of the second race. He's got Dan Herlock bearing down on him, but he's not worried about that. He's just focusing on his race. So as he enters again the third sector for the final time of asking, he's got just a few more bends to go to secure another race victory. In picture we have got the squabble though over the final final podium position. We have Sahlberg, Elliott, Wyatt and Neil all together running up the hill for the final time. So as Wilson exits Druids for this, the final time of the second race, he has Herlock in his mirror, valiantly got that gap down to 1.5 seconds, but the number of laps has run out for Herlock this time round. Callum Wilson, 2 in a row, and I think that's the first time we've had that in a long time, and in fact has won the last 3 races in a row. I think that's certainly going to be something interesting to look up in the stats book. Congratulations, Callum, fantastic result. Dan Herlock, fastest lap of the race, comes home second. Who's going to come home third? It's going to be another drag race, and I think Elliott by a nose just squeaks the final podium position. 2 drag races in 2 race results there. Elliott third, Sahlberg fourth, Wyatt bringing home the 5th position from Louis Neal, Harley London, Scott Mitchell-Marm, Ben Willis and Matt Richards rounding out the top 10. That's a tasty lineup for our reverse grid. Lots of experience and quick drivers in there. So as our final drivers come round, we do have a few DNFs to call out. We'll mention those in a moment. Alan Smith, forever 16th. Not today, he's in 17th, but I believe our last runner and rider making his way around Lodge Corner for the last time.
Yeah, again, that was a kind of race of attrition, that one, for once. It kind of all kicked off again as Alan Smith decides to lock up all the brakes going into the start-finish line. Not the best thing to look on the stream, thank you, Mr. Smith. Never mind, but yeah, another great race. Some great results of, the fact that Scott Mitchell-Marm and Ben Willis both made up 9 places. Started 17th, 18th, finished 8th and 9th. So well in the draw for that reverse grid. Now I've said that, I expect the reverse grid draw to be number 7.
We'll have to wait and see for our wonderful race director to call the reverse grid number. But first, let's run through your finishing order for the second race of this evening. Callum Wilson, 2 in a row for Sector 1 Esports, brought home the victory, followed by Dan Herlock recovering from a moment early on in second. Ryan Elliott completes the podium with Emil Sahlberg, a good evening for him so far, in 4th. Cedo Wire and Louis Neal came home in P5 and P6, with Harley London, Scott Mitchell-Marm, Ben Willis and Matt Richards rounding out the top 10.
I'll take it from here once we turn over the page to say that finished in 11th place is Matthew Williams for Craven Racing. Zachary Evans, PML powered by Richardson Co-Racing, in 12th, with Martha Allington, she finished in 13th. Cameron Brewster, 2 points, so double the points from race 1, is finishing 14th, with Carl Benton getting that last point in 15th. Dave Brewster in 16th, last runner and rider Alan Smith in 17th, and then people that didn't finish, obviously, Luke Mitchell and Thomas Vack with that massive crash at the hairpin, Phil Garside in 20th, and it was Jordan Hyde in 21st, who actually lost their wheel, I think, on lap 1 on the exit of the hairpin. It looks like, from what I could see, they went 3 wide. Jordan kind of was on the exit of the hairpin on that extra piece of tarmac and kind of got chopped round, and then hitting the barrier, because remember they're not very far away, lost a wheel. So that explains why they were the first retirement.
Yes, having 3 wheels on your wagon is definitely not an optimal way to go racing. Yes, that's a pity. But a bit more attrition in that second race. We, of course, had everyone finish in the first. Hopefully, we return to that. We have a finishing sandwich with just a few non-finishes in the middle. But with the third race to go, with a reverse grid draw, and I think at least half the field with the soft tyres, I get the sneaking suspicion that might not be the case.
Yeah, I'll just quickly run down those soft tyres. So it's Zachary Evans, Cameron Brewster, Martha Allington, Ryan Elliott and Thomas Vack for the Vauxhalls, Phil Garside, Ben Willis, Dan Herlock, Herlock now on the softs, be fun to watch, Carl Benton and Alan Smith, and the reverse grid is P9, which means Ben Willis is on pole.
So on soft tyres, Ben Willis on pole position. That is why the reverse grid and pushing for every point and position in the second race is so valuable. I do love the reverse grid format. It gives drivers the chance to kind of set their stall, make their way forward. The field is so close that Ben may be able to get a really solid result here. So not quite a full reverse grid, but Ben will be starting on pole, Scott Mitchell-Marm in second, Harley London in third with Louis Neal in fourth, Cedo Wire in fifth, well, he doesn't move too far, Emil Sahlberg in sixth, Ryan Elliott seventh, Dan Herlock eighth, and Callum Wilson in ninth. Now, of course, the grid positions do set your boost, so Callum will have 1 lap of boost and will be starting in P9. So it's going to be hard work for Callum and the rest of the finishers in in the top order there. We've seen the boost is super valuable around this circuit, and I do believe that Ben will have a good allocation to work with. So it's going to be a grandstand finish for the evening, I think.
Yeah, it's been great fun to watch, and yeah, like I said, now we've got the likes of Wilson and Herlock in the mid pack, I suppose, P9, P8, and kind of struggling to see how they fare with the boosts against those other drivers. Likewise, Ben Willis starting 9th, I think has the full allocation, or maybe not quite the full allocation. But what a race for them, going from 18th to 9th in that race, and then getting reverse pole for race 3. That's exactly what you want to happen in race 2.
Absolutely. It's a 3-race format. If you have a bad first race, that's a pity, and if you have a bad second race, it's really a hard evening. But with the 3-race format, if you do have a bit of a wobble or not ideal first race, well, if you have a good second race, you can really completely turn your evening around. So good to see Ben had a strong second race there and a strong starting position for the third. You can't get any better than pole.
You can't, and we see, wheel drive, soft tire. Yeah, I think this is. I'm not gonna commentate as Kirsten, but I think this is gonna be a great race 3.
I completely agree with you, Phil. So it's quite a few elements to keep an eye out for. Wonderful to have so many folks joining us on the stream. Thank you all for your questions and comments. And again, we'll be back in action 2 weeks' time. Thruxton, fastest venue that we visit. A favourite of mine. I'm a bit biased. It is my local track, but a different challenge to Oulton Park, isn't it, Phil?
Oh yeah, it's just the amount of speed. Hairpin, very long right-hander hairpin. It's basically how I describe Thruxton. Yeah, we have to use those hard tyres, and it was one of the few circuits where I didn't have to worry about tyres because everyone had to run the hards. So looking forward to that. The boost system is going to be hilarious. Not quite sure where you want to boost basically the entire track. So good luck with that one. Yeah, it's always interesting watching those 2 chicanes, especially the last one where we used to sit back in the day watching British touring cars as who makes it through and who doesn't. Yeah, and it's also going to be the first time, and we'll get a new calendar soon. It's going to be the first time we have back-to-back. So because of where we skipped a race, we are going to do obviously Thruxton in 2 weeks' time, and then we go straight to Knockhill a week later. So we're going from hilariously one end of the country to the other, the south of England to the north of Scotland, in the space of a week. Before a 2-week gap, and we return back to our kind of normal fortnightly races with Donington. So
Yes.
hopefully it's a bit cooler.
Oh, well, one can hope, but it is mighty warm. Hope everyone is staying cool and hydrated. It is certainly it's hot work to talk. So I can't imagine what it'd be like behind the wheel tonight. But well done to everyone for racing and obviously watching along as well. So yes, completely different challenges, different circuits to come up, and well, Thruxton always gives some great entertainment with this boost system, with the draft, with the slipstream. I think we're going to be in for a real treat.
Yeah, you also just saying about hydration. Remind me to have a drink while you're talking there. So thank you very much for that. Because it is so hot. It's quite humid. Apologies if you can hear my fan in the background, but I'm doing everything I can to cool this place down. And yeah, hopefully, it's just ironic that the hottest day of the week we have to do sim racing. I say have to, makes it sound like a chore. It very much isn't. It's quite fun chatting to you and chatting rubbish.
Yes, well, I wouldn't call it rubbish. I call it virtual racing. But no, it is a real joy. And it's, like I say, fantastic to have so many folks come along and enjoy the spectacle as well. So welcome everyone, and one more race to go. And it's normally the firecracker of the 3. And given how much action we've had in the first 2, I can't wait to see what race 3 is going to bring.
Chaos. In a word, I just imagine chaos. Cameraman extraordinaire, by the way, just saying it's a toasty 14 degrees here. It's nice for people to have aircon. I do not. I have a fan blowing hot air around. So. Nope, sorry, I apologise. It's not aircon. It's called Scotland. Well, yes, as I said, I was in Carlisle last week where it was like 30 degrees at home. It was about 20 degrees up there. It was beautiful. So I now have massive respect for the north of England and Scotland. It's cheaper and cooler.
So it's a lovely part of the world. I myself was in Scotland a few weeks ago and very much enjoyed it. And it was 10 degrees cooler. It was great to get off the plane and just be normal temperature. Anyway. first world problems in every sense of the word to one side. Who would you suggest keeping an eye out for in this third race, Phil?
I'm going to say, oh, that's quite a hard one now, actually, with the first grid. The Hurlock's on softs, obviously only doesn't have as much boost. I'm going to say Matt Richards. They're starting in 10th, but they have obviously maximum boost compared to the cars immediately ahead of them. Wilson, Hurlock, Elliott, Salberg. So I think that's going to be the one to watch at the start. Obviously, they don't get the boost on lap 1, as we've said, but the rest of the laps, once you go on lap 5, Matt Richards can use boost the rest of the race. The guys ahead of him can't.
I think my pick, she's been having a great run of races so far, is Harley London in third. Had some good pace, solid results, medium tyre. We'll have to see what she can do, but it's a jumble. We've got all sorts of drivetrains and drivers, so we'll have to see how they all manage. And it's the final race of this evening, race 12 of this year's championship, third race for this evening. Let's run through the starting grid. So pole position, reverse grid pole, Ben Willis starting on the soft tyres. He'll be followed by Scott Mitchell-Malm in second, Harley London in third. Louis Neal will be in fourth, followed by Cedo Wyatt in fifth. Emil Saarberg and Ryan Elliott will start in P6 and P7. Rounding out our top 10, we have Dan Hurlock, Callum Wilson and Matt Richards.
We have then Matthew Williams, 11th for Craven Racing. Zachary Evans, PMR powered by Richards & Co Racing in 12th. Marv Harrington, she starts in 13th. Cam Brewster in 14th, hopefully continue to go forward this evening. Carl Benson in 15th. Dave Brewster in 16th. Alan Smith for Craven Racing in 17th. Luke Mitchell, sadly unlucky there in race 2, is starting 18th. Thomas Mack likewise in 19th. And Jordan Hyde in 20th. We've had one person's had to drop out. Phil Garside sadly isn't returning, which means 20 runners and riders for this final race of the evening.
So 20 car field to close out the evening. Good healthy number. I think we'll have to say who do we want to have as an on board here, Phil? I'm thinking maybe Ben Willis, just to see how well he gets away, maybe.
It could be Ben Willis, obviously starting on the softs. I expect him to get away anyway. We'll see him from the front. I'd say Hurlock, starting in 8th place. Only one lap of boost, but doesn't matter for that first lap. And see what they can do with other drivers around them, not having to worry about the championship.
Good call. So as our drivers take their grid positions, just rolling and getting themselves all lined up, we wait for everyone to get into position. We wait for those lights and the engine notes to rise. Lights out and away they go, rushing their way down towards turn 1. Ben Willis, great start, my goodness me, he's got 3 car lengths on the field. Through into turn 1 he goes. Here comes everyone else, 2 by 2 by 2. Looks like everyone's made their way safely through turn 1 and are cleanly exiting. Scott Mitchell-Malm holds on to second, Harley London up to third as everyone makes their way into Cascades for the first time. Willis a bit wide on the exit, that might leave him vulnerable.
It might indeed. I think we have one car off, sadly, as Hurlock up to 5th already. There's a bit of a traffic jam here going on as someone dives down the inside. Hurlock trying to stay well out of it as we go 3 wide nearly, and just about all, I think, surviving through there.
Louis Neal making some moves, Harley London not appreciating that, using the lights to show their thoughts on that particular overtake into the island hairpin on this, the first time of asking, but through they go. The Hislop chicane for the first time of asking. Willis holding on to the race lead, but Scott Mitchell-Malm staying in close company, so this one not a foregone conclusion, of course, as they run into Druids for the first time. Got a little bit of a breakaway for the first 2 as everyone else follows on.
Yeah, it looks like Louis Neal is going to be the train driver, although Harley London would like to become the conductor. Is looking down the outside and inside Hurlock now. Means, are they going to try and take 4th? It looks like they will. If we go to the spinner at the back, it sounds like Allington is falling down.
So it looks like some action there into Lodge Corner on the first lap. Looks like Hurlock making his way using those soft tyres. He's up to 4th place already, absolutely making progress. Scott Mitchell-Malm, though, right on the back now of this Infinity of Ben Willis. Through Cascades they go, starting to move around in that rearview mirror Willis on the boost with the fastest lap of the race, as they now have boost available, powering his way down to the island bend. Louis Neal getting all sorts of elbows out, holding off robustly Dan Hurlock out of the hairpin. They go over the hill of Hilltop. Louis Neal hanging on for now. Hurlock starting to make a little look, a little moving around in the mirror, causing a bit of distraction for Neal in the braking zone, perhaps trying to engineer that mistake. Nothing doing. Louis Neal holds on to third.
Now, it is something unique. Ben Willis is using their boost on lap 2, trying to break the toe that Scott Mitchell-Marm got earlier in the lap. So it's whereas others have tried to save their boost for the end of the race, Ben's thinking, let's use it now, break the toe, and just kind of use that to try and just kind of manage the gap that way. Obviously, they've got 10 laps of boost. I think it was, or 8. And Mitchell doesn't have as much, as Hurlock looks down the inside and their signature style and makes it up to third.
My goodness me, I think that was all 4 wheels locked up at a point there, completely sideways, but he was able to get that stopped. Louis left the space, Hurlock up to third, which may be a pretty foreboding thing for Scott Mitchell-Marm to see in his rearview mirror.
I mean, that's what Ben will be betting on now, is that those two hold each other up for a bit so they can make hay while the sun shines, as a good friend of mine would say.
Yes, indeed. And, well, it's particularly warm and hot. You should do that, of course. Callum Wilson, of course, our race 1 and 2 winner. He is down in P10. He's not quite made the progress of Hurlock at this stage, but is still circulating. And, lovely move there from the kart marketplace Astra round the outside. Everyone's stacking up on the inside, trying to take the shortest route. Oh, well, that's fine. I will just take some speed around the outside. Thank you very much. So, place gained with a little bit of savvy racecraft.
Yeah, very sideways voxel through that left-hander as well, but holds on to that 10th place. As that was a crazy way of trying to copy Hurlock's, I think, but in the front-wheel drive. The gap to Mitchell and Ben Willis is now down to 3/10 again. So I think this is just Scott Mitchell's got the better setup against this Infinity as they go down towards the final corner, and Hurlock is definitely going to get involved very shortly.
So it's one thing to catch, it is quite another to overtake, as the great Murray Walker would once say. So we now have 3 all line astern for the podium positions. Scott Mitchell-Marm used the full allocation of boost on that lap, full 20 seconds deployed, and he is now right up under that rear wing. But my goodness me, Hurlock has timed that one. Scott Mitchell-Marm a little bit delayed. He's on the boost. He's trying to complete the bast. Willis is having none of it, though. He holds strong on the inside. Oh, a little bit of oversteer, a little wiggle for the Infinity. He holds on, and they still all are facing the right direction as they run down towards the island bend. And here comes Hurlock. That same move round the outside. Sure, you take the inside line, I'll just carry the momentum around the outside. As Hurlock comes out side by side with Mitchell-Marm. Boost being used by Mitchell-Marm to re-secure the position. Tactically used there, but that will, of course, be music to Willis's ears as these two scrap. He may be able to build that gap ever so slightly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough one for Willis as we get a replay now. What we're looking at here, this is Harley London. I'm guessing Louis Neal as they go into this long right-hander. So, a little bit of too much curve there. It was kind of open the door.
Oh.
Yep. Just power out. Did they tap the wall? I think they may have done there, sadly. But they are, I believe, still running down in 12th place. There's still points available for Harley if she can bring it home from there.
So I do fear a little bit of curse of the commentator, so I do apologise, Harley, in advance for that one. But still time to recover, still points to be had. We're human, we make mistakes. It's one of those things. Anyway, back to the race. Hurlock all over the back of Scott Mitchell-Marm. The gap between Mitchell-Marm and Willis has opened to 0.7 of a second. The scrap has begun. We'll have to see how long the scrap lasts, however. Scott Mitchell-Marm knows how to quickly pedal his Honda Civic Type R around, but can he keep this rapid RSR BMW behind? We will have to see, but a good little scrap here. Mitchell-Marm again on the boost up the hill, definitely using that tactically to hold onto and take away the overtaking opportunity into the chicane.
Yeah, just looking here at I don't know which Astra that was flashing their light, but somebody wasn't very happy. I believe it was Ryan Elliott there. Don't know what happened there, but all running 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it is not Allington, and lots of Evans. I think there's so many Evans. We can tell our timing tower hasn't recovered in race 3. It's also having its own shenanigans tonight. Apologies for that. And Evans is kind of leading the train here.
Would appear so, but there we go. Zach and Martha, of course, very talented, but I don't believe that they can duplicate themselves. That would be quite the strategy. But anyway, moving on. Let's look at what our leading trio are up to. Willis still leads, a point, of course, for leading a lap, so he's got that one in the books. Scott Mitchell-Marm still under heavy pressure from Herlock on the boost on the exit of Old Hall, which will, of course, drag them back both towards the rear bumper of Ben Willis. But this is getting a bit feisty. We'll have to see how they manage it. They've built a gap. Oh, built a gap from the pack behind, and I think that was Cito Wire going off in the background. Thank you very much, cameraman extraordinaire. Action in the trailing pack as our leading trio try and run away.
Yep, we'll get a replay for that at some point as we see. Yeah, bit of this is all working well for Willis so far. I think the problem is going to be is that I don't think Mitchell-Marm has that many laps of boost to use. So I think at some point, Mitchell's going to run out of boost to defend. Herlock's going to take them, and it's going to be whether Willis has enough boost themselves to defend. We'll have to look at the boost numbers in a minute as we get a replay. This is Cito White and Brian Elliott. So out of turn 1, Elliott gets a bit of a run. There's a little tap down the hill, dive down the inside, and yeah, 2 into 1. Not quite sure on that one. I suppose, yeah, they'll have to get an in-car one of that one. But Cito is still going around, sadly down in 17th place, but is still running.
Yes, very similar to Instant I think we saw in the second race, but a bit more of a terminal outcome there for Cito. So we'll have to see if we can get another angle perhaps. But Ben Willis continues to lead. Of course, the tyres, Herlock and Willis on the soft tyre. I think it's going to be an interesting use of boosters. My goodness me, it's turning more into rallycross track again for TCUK on the exit of the Old Hall corner as this group continue to scrap. But yes, Willis managing the gap. It's still hovering around 1 second between Mitchell-Marm and Ben Willis at this point. That boost will run out as we've now got picture-in-picture Herlock and Mitchell-Marm. Herlock, I think, looking up the inside. Is this going to be the move? Late on the brakes, he's up the inside. Can he get the car slowed? Yes, but he's now going to be slow off the second part of the chicane. Can Scott Mitchell-Marm make something happen up the hill? It's going to be hard work. This is all allowing Ben Willis to scamper away a little bit, but no boost being used by either driver. I think that may be job done.
I think that will be done indeed. I'll have to see again. I'm kind of keeping an eye on this timing town when it's going to loop over to boost, give me some boost information, as it hasn't switched over for a while. I don't think we're going to get it, sadly. But so the gap between Herlock and Willis, 1.4. We'll see what goes on there later on in the race, as we got here battle for 8 between Elliott, Richards, Wilson, and Mitchell. So a bit of everyone, kind of doing a bit of everything there. As we can also see, Alan Smith is now taking up multiple places on our timing tower. Apologies for that, as that's a bit of a lock-up and just about holds on, but sadly for Elliott, that's a place lost, and then maybe to their teammate.
Yeah, I think
they're pulling off.
I think they are. Yes, I think that was perhaps an issue for Elliott there, just on the run into Old Hall corner. Beneficiary there, I think, initially being Matt Richards, but everyone now filing past. So curious one there for Elliott. We'll have to see if we can find out what's happened. He has retired from the race.
How weird. I have to look into that one later, find out what's going on there. As it's currently, probably should do a run down here. It's Ben Willis leading from now under a second. Dan Herlock. Then it's Scott Mitchell-Marm, Zachary Evans, Emil Salberg is running in 5th. Louis Neal 6th. Thomas Wack is 7th. Matt Richards now in 8th. With Wilson 9th. Luke Mitchell in 10th there.
So just hearing from cameraman extraordinaire, he's just pulled to the side of the road and parked it. So a bit of a curious one. We'll have to see if we can find out if there's any more information that Ryan might share on that one. As oh my goodness me, it was a very wayward BMW that Herlock was driving there into the lodge corner, tracing down Ben Willis. But let's talk now to the action here around P14, 13 and 12. We've got Jordan Hyde in the Vapor Shield Hyundai. He's being hassled by Martha Allington in the Soul Toyota we have in the field, as Hyde there coming under all sorts of pressure from Martha, going around the outside. That would be a bold move if you can pull that one off. Not quite. Always tricky to run around the outside of someone. Hyde holds on. This is of course benefiting the Calamity Ford Focus just up the road, who's now scampers away in 12th place.
Probably worth having a look at the front now as the gap between Herlock and Willis. So it's currently half a second. It was down to 3/10 just now. I think Willis has enough boost now for all laps. I think he has 6 laps left from what I just saw just now. Herlock has 2 laps of boost. So maybe Willis can't use boost for one of those laps to get him to the end. But he's currently on it now. The gap is very close, and it's whether Willis can use that boost to defend. As the gap is now just over 2/10, and this one I think is going to run for a while because Willis does have the boost to fight back if he does lose the position.
He does, and it's like I say, one thing to catch up. It's another to pass. I think it's just about sensible driving from both. Of course, you don't want to force anything, but Oulton Park, it's nature, it's narrow. There's only a few overtaking opportunities. If you're able to capitalize and use the boost and on corners before those overtaking opportunities, use the power in a defensive manner, that might just be enough. But of course, Herlock, multiple race winner, champion, he knows how to hustle a touring car. An interesting battle and meeting of minds here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a swap over position between 4, 5, 6, and 7. I just saw Salberg and I think it was Louis Nil kind of push each other wide at turn 1, which allowed Richards and Wack to jump some places there.
Willis hard on the brakes there, really slowing his Infinity down into the island bend. Herlock using that more traditional racing line to carry momentum, very evenly balanced as they exit up over the hill. That gap remains about half a second.
Yep, so we've got a replay here of, I think that's Louis Nil and Salberg. So a little tap there pushes them both wide, and Thomas Wack says, well, if you guys want to fight in the grass, I'll take the 2 positions, thank you very much. I think Richards benefited and made 2 up as well.
So there you go. Yep, 2 cars just coming together, and just by the natural contact and inertia, both go further wide. So right place, right time there for Wack and Richards moving forward.
Yep, great as the gap here between these 2 guys is kind of hovering now about 3 or 4 tenths. It's basically, whoa, that's very sideways, maybe too much sideways. How does he hold on to it? I still don't know. The gap now is kind of nearing a second, which is good news for Ben, as we see Callum Wilson, and that is Luke Mitchell fighting over 9th and 10th.
Yes, Callum Wilson, he's used all of his boost. You may see the red little stop symbol in the timing tower. No more boost available for him for the whole of the race. Finally making a position back up to P9, he goes. Got a scrap here, Zachary Evans in his PMR powered by Richards & Co Racing Hyundai. He's up into 3rd place now, passing the King's Honda Civic of Scott Mitchell-Marm through Cascades.
Yeah, that was a good overtake through turn 1 by the looks of it. So got the inside line, and yeah, that's them taking 3rd position. And sadly, don't know how much boost they've got, but I know that Scott's got another 4 laps, so he can use the boost, as Herlock now has to bring that gap back down again, having nearly lost it on the last corner.
So gap between Willis and Herlock, it's actually extending ever so slightly here. Herlock up to a second. He's looking a bit ragged. His style is certainly dynamic. It's certainly exciting to watch, but not quite delivering the pace and speed. Ben just focusing on what he needs to do. A little bit of boost here, I see, as he approaches the last corner of the lap.
Got a replay here of Louis Nil and Salberg, but Louis Nil has just retired. Okay, not this instance. So what happened here is this is Salberg into left or right in front. Oh, he hit the barrier there, and I'm going to guess then he's got front left suspension damage. And if he's retired, and if we kind of keep a little bit of this one going, he's going to try and turn left in a minute and not be able. Oh, he got a little tap anyway. Now he can't turn left, and then that's the end of that car.
That's a pity. Those concrete, those tyre walls are solid. They do not give. And yes, a little tap. No ability to avoid the wall there covering the pedestrian bridge, and that is the end of that Hyundai.
Yeah, the gap is still now 6 tenths. Ben's still using his boost to defend, but remember Herlock's got 2 laps of boost as well. So I think lap 14 is when it's all going to kick off between these 2, as Ben will have the boost still to defend, but Herlock can use it to attack. As we now get Martha Allington's view of going up the hill. And oh, there's a car there. Yep, okay, that's a good dodge. Good miss there, Martha.
Good reactions to avoid the stationary car. Not that Louis could do much about it once he ended there. So yes, the yo-yo, the tactical use of the boost in full effect here between Willis and Herlock. The gap hovering roughly around the 1 second margin, but both drivers using their boost in different places. Herlock not using his boost at all at this point. It's just pure pace out of that BMW at this stage.
Yep, and it's going to be close between these 2. As also close as these 4 for Salberg, He's at Salberg, and then it's Wilson, Mitchell, and then Cameron Brewster now in 10th. Kind of, that'd be a nice little finish. Finished in top 10 for the last race of the evening, but possibly thinking about getting a bit more of these three are going to kick off against each other.
Yeah, Callum Wilson going from defender to attacker. Cameron Brewster getting involved here as well as Luke Mitchell trying to make his way forward, not finding a way through and becoming under attack himself now from the charging drag driver in the third race this evening. Got a little quad of drivers here, so you could potentially have up to 6th place here if you play your cards right.
Yeah, that'd be a fantastic end of the evening for them. So, yeah, the gaps are just hardly anything now, but we're going to have struggling tyres. Obviously, Brewster's got these softs as he learns to look after them. We know Brewster famously is always decent on the tyres, so we'll see if they can make use of them for these last 3 laps as the gap still at the front is still kind of hovering. But yeah, lap 14, I want to watch Herlock. I want to see if he can really knuckle down that gap with the 2 laps of boost that they have.
We will have to see, but I do wonder at this stage. Willis has been driving. He's had the pressure. He's not had to defend overly at this point. He might have settled. He might have worked out his rhythm, where to use the boost, how to make the best use of it. He'll have to weather the storm for Herlock as he enters the final few laps and really pushes and applies the pressure. But I do wonder, Ben's had a chance to kind of get used to that, rehearse it a little, and as that gap I see actually starts to extend ever so slightly, almost 1.2 seconds, although it's starting to come back down again now. It's with a few laps to go, Ben is very nearly there.
Yeah, but here comes the boost now of Herlock. So this is where it gets tasty, because Ben can't use that boost to pull away now, as Herlock's just use a little bit here before the hairpin. Has to be a little bit careful on the brakes. Nice smooth usage around the corner. And then up this hill. I mean, Herlock still made 6th places. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Kind of 8th to 2nd is still amazing. As Zachary Evans has done 12th to 3rd, and even Wack has done from 19th to 5th, which is crazy. That's 14. That must be some of the most places made in one race.
I think you may be on the money there. That's some incredible returns and results. But again, keeping your nose clean and obviously making a few nice passes of your own making, that's how you get those kind of runs and results. So yes, some good returns for some of our drivers this evening as our leading duo make their way through Druids Corner and towards Lodge for the second penultimate time of asking. I think we're in for a bit of a grandstand finish here, ladies and gents, so buckle up, get ready. It's going to be a whirlwind around this roller coaster in Cheshire.
Yeah, so last time through turn 1, not really an overtaking area, just kind of keep it clean, get yourself a good exit as the gap's now down to 4 tenths, and this is going to be close. This is going to be one of those run to the lines, isn't it? Ben's now under a lot of pressure here. Herlock's probably been looking after his tyre as well. Herlock goes a little bit wide, uses all the circuit, as we can see 3rd, 4th and 5th picture. We're also fighting for that last podium spot on the last lap. Herlock goes around the outside.
Goodness me, he tries around the outside. He somehow gathers that car together and drifts it through the exit, trying to run it all the way around the outside. Willis retains and holds on to that leading position. Picture in picture, we've got the scrap over the final podium position. So action all over the racetrack. Willis enters now the 3rd sector for the final time of asking under huge pressure. Both drivers here on the boost, using everything at their availability. Willis off the boost marginally sooner as they run into Druids. Will Ben use the boost on the exit here to cover off the overtaking opportunity? It's all about being smooth and not making mistakes. Neither driver on the boost, perhaps both saving it for the exit. Ben goes defensive, hard on the brakes. So does Herlock round the outside, looking for that early cutback, trying to get the car straight. On the boost goes Willis, on the boost goes Herlock. Is it a drag race? Not really. Ben Willis lights the flag, reverse pole to the win. Congratulations, that's what the reverse grid's all about. Good job, Ben. Herlock in 2nd place. Not quite the win this time around. And the kart marketplace by RSR car, I think that was of Wack, in 3rd place there at the end. Oh my goodness me. Race 3 delivers.
What a race that was. What a result as well. Like I said, 18th to 9th in the 2nd race to get reverse pole and then to hold on to it and win it. Obviously a bit amazing start as well, which then gave the everyone else was fighting. Ben could just pull away and then manage that gap, and manage it they did. I was a bit suspicious when they were using their boost on lap 2 to hold on to the position. I wondered if it was worth keeping it until the end of the race, but they proved me wrong. So great racing there.
Absolutely. And again, the reverse grid format, it gives drivers the opportunity to show what they can do with perhaps a bit of clean air. Ben Willis, full use of that opportunity, and it's fantastic to see for the independent driver. So Control Esports by Drag Racing, the Infinity, not the easiest car to drive. I know that for first-hand experience. Great job for Ben there. Well-deserved victory.
Yeah, and another fantastic evening of races, and it started a little bit quiet, but as soon as that lap 9 of race 1 happened, it was all kicking off.
So action, all 3 races, and as always, Oulton Park delivers us a treat in our touring car visit that we make every year. Let's run through the finishing positions for the third and final race of the evening. Ben Willis wins for Control Esports by Drake Racing. He is followed home by Daniel Hurlock for RSR. Zachary Evans rounds out the podium. Apologies, it was Zachary who came home in third. For PMR, powered by Richards & Co Racing, Thomas Wack was in 4th place. Matt Richards rounds out the top 5. Scott Mitchell-Marm came home in 6th place, a good showing for him and Kings. Emil Salberg, a great evening for him. 3 really good point scores, came home in 7th, with Callum Wilson, 2 wins and an 8th place. Again, a good return on the evening for him. Luke Mitchell and Cameron Brewster round out the top 10.
Yeah, that's great points there for Cam Brewster on his first evening here this season. Martha Allington, 11th, and Harley London in 12th. Cedar Wire recovering to 13th, with Jordan Hyde starting at the back, also got 14th. Dave Brewster getting the last points position in 15th. Matthew Williams in 16th. Alan Smith a lap down in 17th. And then DNF of Louis Neal, Ryan Elliott, and Carl Benton. What a fantastic evening we've had of racing, I'd say, Chuggy. It's been great fun to watch, and roll on again in 2 weeks' time in Thruxton.
Absolutely. So we'll give a quick refresh for you all of the kind of rounds that we have to come. We've got our next visit to Thruxton in 2 weeks' time on the 12th of August. And then 1 week later, we'll be making our visit to Knockhill, north of the border, on the 19th. With that being in the books, we return to Donington Park, the Grand Prix circuit, at the start of September. We make our visit to Croft in Yorkshire on the 16th of September, and our visit to the home of British Motorsport, Silverstone, and the national layout on the 30th of September. Of course, as always, our finale will be at Brands Hatch and its Grand Prix layout on the 14th of October. So already 4 rounds in the books, 12 races, and as you say, Phil, tonight, another 3 fantastic races. TCUK never disappoints.
It doesn't, and really looking forward to Thruxton in 2 weeks. Like I said, our home track. It's high speed, it's high commitment, and as we saw in the World Touring cars at the weekend, kind of that church corner can really throw up some amazing passes. So yeah, looking forward to it, and our first back-to-back as well. So kind of a case of see you in 2 weeks and see you in 3.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, folks, for joining in, for your comments and viewership tonight. We really do appreciate it, and we hope that you've enjoyed it. If you're interested in finding out more about VMO and TCUK, head on over to vmo-simracing.co.uk. You'll find out more about the league, TCUK, and who knows, you might find yourself on the grid next year in TCUK. But for now, on behalf of the broadcast team, on behalf of Phil and myself, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time at Thruxton.